to the Airing It Out podcast. I am your host, Dustin Marion. This is May the 4th be with you episode where we're going to talk everything Star Wars. And I have my guy, Uncle Saultee, who's just as passionate for these films as I was. Welcome on, buddy.
One of my favorite things to talk about in the entire world is the Force. The Force. I'm such a nerd. My God.
They got you dialed. They got you dialed.
Like the Force, and I want to tell you about my relationship with the Force. Can I talk to you about it?
Come on, baby. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. I mean, that's what it's all about, right?
Oh my God.
How cool was it? Because we don't have like the cool name like Trekkies, but at least we have a day of the year.
That's true.
That we can fucking like just nerd the fuck out about it and be so cool in our nerding of it and being accepting about it that it's okay and cool. I totally dig it. I want to like not waste any time and go right for the fucking jugular on this. Okay. So we were just talking off air about why Solo, the film, wasn't so great as a one-off or a spin-off or something to build off of, because my man Harrison Ford raised the bar so fucking high. Now, I want to give you a little bit of background because I've not only watched all the films and everything with it, I've watched a lot of behind the scenes footage. Yeah. And George Lucas's first film was American Graffiti. Okay. And Harrison Ford was in American Graffiti. And when George Lucas was working on who he was going to be casting, he used Harrison Ford as a springboard to interview Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher. But he was supposed to just be reading lines. That's all he was supposed to do. But he did such a phenomenal job reading with Mark and with reading with Carrie that Lucas was like, this is a fucking slam dunk. And it's crazy because this is pre Indiana Jones. So like Harrison hadn't even walked into who Harrison Ford was.
Right.
And to use your words, he was just so swaggy in his shit that, to be honest with you, Mark and Carrie, in my opinion, and we talked about this, really didn't carry not only that first film, but the second film. Harrison Ford brought so much to New Hope and to The Empire Strikes Back. I mean, you literally almost shed a tear the moment he is frozen in carbonite. And The Return of the Jedi is based on a rescue of Solo. So if you really look at it, instead of looking at it as it's this great galactical battle with all of these different things going on, it's really a movie about Solo.
Right?
You know what I mean? I'm being serious. They literally need Solo to transport them to the Death Star. Solo is like running around, stealing motherfuckers, smuggling shit, getting paid but not paying fools back, right? Gets up in so much trouble that it catches up with him and then ends up changing basically the landscape. And to cap it all off, while Luke is trying to be seduced by the dark side, he's on the planet laying fucking, damage on Endor, still trying to go ham. Like, my man was all over the place, but I'll let you jump in.
I have to say that I actually shed a tear right before he was frozen in carbonite when she was like, I love you. And he was like, I know, because that was the most pimp shit I have ever seen.
I just got goosebumps. He was so swaggy. He was so swaggy.
And like, nigga, his swag in that movie was like, when I look back at it, the charisma of that character from start to finish, like, he is the criminal every woman dreams of.
He did such a good job on that.
Smuggler that murders the nigga who's looking for him in the first thing under the table, gangster.
100%.
He's a smuggler, that's like guns and drugs and weapons and illegal.
Right. Right.
He comes back in the beginning because Luke is his homeboy, and like, he's got that loyalty. And then the second the way that the relationship between him and Leia plays off when he's like, oh, a scoundrel. Most guys turn around and walk when she's like, you're a scoundrel. And he's like, yeah, that's right. I'm a scoundrel. You like that. Like, just the...
You know what's even better? Because I've watched this movie so many times. He's like, she goes, what are you doing with my hand? And he's like that too, huh? And he literally is like, what?
And also, like, the whole your worship. Like, nigga, this is literally a princess. Like,
give a fuck.
You're a scoundrel.
Right.
And you just like have the fucking nerve to just be like, you know you want it. And eventually she was like, you know what? You're right. I do. Like,
it was great. I mean, like, so much of all of those films. I mean, when you look at every scene, whether it was him killing, I think it was Greedo. When he kills Greedo, when they went back,
murdered Guido. He
right.
didn't kill him. He murdered him.
when you go back and, you know, because in the original cut, Jabba is in the New Hope, but they didn't have the tech at that time, so they cut that scene. But if you encompass all of that, like, his first 20 minutes is just like, holy fuck, who is this dude?
Yeah, like,
right?
This dude is no joke.
Right. And then he goes into the trash compactor, which that scene is so fucking great. Right. And then, you know, him just being kind of like the big brother / pops to Luke the whole time, even when they have that scene when they're shooting on the turrets. I mean, like, I could go scene after scene where this guy's just slaying.
Good job, kid. Don't get cocky.
Like, he like, looking back at it now, what would it be? Like 50, 60 years later, on what he laid down? Wow. Like, to me, it's insulting that you would try to, and I get it, but you should have never fucked with the Solo shit.
It was, you know, when an actor, especially supporting actors, charisma, and he was so good for that character. Like, and I think about his other roles, and none of them are significantly like Solo. You know, they're very. I just think he did a really, really good job with it. And like you said, especially in Empire, I really felt like Empire was his film, because, like, they go to see Lando, who's his boy. You know, it's really, he is kidnapped to get to Luke. You know, he is the one who fucking is like, I mean, the best line for who Han Solo is they're like, it's cold as fuck out there. You'll die before blah, blah, blah. And he's like, yeah, and my homie is out in that shit. You know? And, like, that's why that little, the Solo with the blue in the hood is the best Solo. Because
you know what's so crazy about that too? Because I just thought about it. How G is Lucas, right? Where he introduces a villain character that has so much charisma you fall in love with, and up until that point when we get to Empire Strikes Back, right? His best boy is a black character, and right, like when you, like, literally he's a drug dealer, like a hood cat. His best man is black, and, like, at that time that had to be cutting edge.
It really was,
right? Like, and even you could argue, even being with a Wookiee, his guy is an alien, right? It wasn't. They didn't set him up to have, like, the quintessential roles that would have gone to a guy in that position.
That was the high point of the sidekick era for black folks.
Yes.
That's like the sidekick era. That's shortly after the tiny Negro era, which is a little bit earlier into the 80s, like the Webster, different strokes era. But that's strong sidekick energy. And
but it's weird because, let me tell you, looking at it now, right? First of all, Empire is one of my favorites. I've watched that movie at least 1,000 times, right?
You really think you put it in 1,000 times?
One time I had it, right, when I was solo, and it would just play. Like my DVD player, as soon as it ended a movie, it would just start it over again.
That's reloaded for me.
Yeah, and so like it would just go, and I would be doing shit, and it would just be in the background. I would go to sleep and wake up at different parts. I would go to wake up, and it's at a different part, and just have it. So what I was gonna say was, watching it so many times, even though quote unquote Lando was a sidekick, he delivered such a powerful performance that he didn't come off that way either. And he has such a small role, right? But he nailed it. Like, even the fact that he sold them out to the dark side or to the Empire.
Yeah, but he had to.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying like it was still a G move. He was like, I was doing the best to protect my people. Like, I had to make a deal. And even he got pissed when Vader was like, I'll keep altering the deal, motherfucker. And he's like, that's not the deal we had in place, bro. Like, I brokered a deal with you, and now you're changing the shit, my man.
That was Vader's one of his most gangster moments.
Yeah, right.
Like, I'm altering the deal.
That's
and
it.
Hope I don't alter it anymore.
Again, yeah. Don't push the maybe, baby.
That's Donald Trump energy right there. What the fuck you gonna do about it?
And
I just took a gun from your nigga from across the room. Act somebody like,
bro.
Vader.
And to even go more with Lucas, right? Because these are things that people don't even think about. You have a white actor physically play Vader, and you have a black man's voice, if not the greatest voice of all time.
Definitely. Especially with
Jones. Bro, like, just can't. I mean, the only other person I think about now is maybe a Morgan Freeman, because he got that good voice too. Sure. But nothing. I mean,
nothing like Lord Vader.
Vader is nothing without.
No, that voice is
that
like,
voice actor. You know what I mean? Like,
and the lines are so good.
My God. They're just
like,
they're just so great.
You know, please forgive me if I kind of like, because that's just serious Star Wars nostalgia taking place in my head.
No, it's crazy, because I could paint all these pictures for you so that you could go there, because I'm telling you, bro, when you said that you geek out on it, brother, I geeked out like nobody's fucking business on this shit. And it's funny because we're not even really talking. We're talking about two different off characters, right? Which is strange. We're talking about Solo. We're talking about Vader, right? And that's not even like the full encompassing deal. But it's also strange that Lucas, with the first 6, it really was the Anakin story.
You know, it's really funny because my favorite character in the whole thing is Emperor Palpatine. And I will fight and argue that it's all about Palpsy taking control of the galaxy and losing control of the galaxy.
That's so weird, right? So depending on what lens you view it from, there's so like it's so good. It's so good. Like, as a storyteller, he did such an amazing job, because if he was a girl, let's say, you might like maybe Luke because he was cute, or you would dig Leia because she was a powerful woman. If he was maybe a teenager,
is the baddest bitch ever.
Right.
I wish I could find a woman that's half Princess Leia.
Right.
She was a bad motherfucker, dude.
And then you got, like, if he was a teenager, right, you definitely like going with Solo and the Wookiee, maybe a little Vader, right? If maybe you're even older, you're definitely looking at the Force versus the Empire. Like, there's just so many levels.
And if you're an evil, sick, sadistic son of a bitch that likes to see people manipulated and struck with Force lightning, you like the Emperor.
Yeah. And it's really interesting to see, you know, another thing too that I really digged was like the journey, right? So we see Solo's journey, which it really, like, now when you break it down, it seems like more of a Solo movie than anything else. But watching Luke go through his ebbs and flows, and you got the guy in the back, they stole the show creating that character. That's another person that we wouldn't even like. I mean, we were talking about it earlier. The Mandalorian literally tried to rape that character. That's how good, but that's how good it was. That's how good it was.
You know, the baby Yoda is missing the best part of Yoda, which is the ridiculous voice and the obnoxious sentence structure.
Yes.
Like, that is that's a big part of what makes Master Yoda the greatest Jedi ever. Actually, it's Master Buddha, because everything he teaches is essentially a Buddhist practice at Yoda, Buddha. Yes. Yeah, he's just the guy, man. I forgot what I was gonna say there in nostalgia.
I think you were just trying to drive the point home on how powerful having a character like Yoda was, and him having this very interesting way of speaking and making
his cuteness wasn't the only thing about him,
right.
You know, it was like his wisdom and the fact that the most powerful guy, you know, when Luke first met him, didn't even think he was a civilized being,
right?
You know, and also the fact that like a great Jedi master would kind of fuck around when he first met Luke, you know, because it was kind of like he knew that it's the first hour of knowing this guy. I don't have to introduce myself to him. Like, and Luke is just so impatient to get the training so he can go and fight. But like, Yoda was like, you know, dude, like, chill out a little bit.
I also think it was cool. Like, he was like a bit on the cover, right? Like, he was feeling Luke out, and Luke came in there like a hothead. So he's probably thinking in his mind, like, this dude, I'm not even going to waste my time with, because at the time there was no compassion on Luke's behalf. Like, if you're supposed to be this great Jedi warrior, you're supposed to respect all beings alive and like, not overthink it. Go ahead.
Think if the Jedi played by Liam Neeson, I can't remember his name.
Qui-Gon Jinn.
Yes, think about if Qui-Gon had met Yoda. Qui-Gon wouldn't have brought up that he was looking for the great Jedi Master Yoda until the next morning after he had hung out with this guy, you know, and he wouldn't have pressed. He just would have enjoyed his hospitality. And then when they woke up the next day, he would have said, you know, my little green friend, I'm in desperate need of making contact with this man Yoda. You know, there's many people relying on me, you know, and then I think a formal introduction would have been made. When you really think about it, like if Qui-Gon had met him, it would have been an entirely different thing. There would have been patience, you know, he would have got to know Yoda a little bit and then very quickly figured out, you're the guy I'm looking for, aren't you? And he'd have been like, yeah, nigga, of course I'm the guy you're looking for. Why do you think I speak English?
Right. You know what also thinking about what you just said, I find interesting too, and we've talked about it on multiple occasions. First of all, Liam Neeson did such a great job as Qui-Gon Jinn. And I really find it baffling to me that your two best characters, right? So when he went back to the well and he's trying to create a new 3, right? The first one is probably the best one. I know you will argue that because I know you enjoy parts of 2 and parts of episode 3. But you literally kill off Qui-Gon Jinn and Darth Maul in the same film. I'm like, bro, what?
In the same fight.
I'm like, dude, what in the fuck?
In the same fight, even.
There was just so much more you could have did with those characters. And to be honest with you, and you argue this with me, and what do you think? I thought Count Dooku was terrible.
Yeah, I love Dooku, but I understand why you killed Qui-Gon. That makes sense to me because I remember the fucking gasp I let out when he died. And Qui-Gon's death it makes that scene amazing because then you realize, oh shit, now it's just me. And there is this dude with horns and he just murdered the guy that taught me everything I know. Like that as an audience member, when you're on the good guys team and you see him gangster that nigga with a cheap shot and then an execution so I understand why you killed him. How you killed Darth Maul is the most egregious thing I have ever seen in Star Wars, and I'll never forgive you for it. Absolute. Like
I think that was the beginning of the end for him in that was like where he was trying to take it.
This nigga just fought one Jedi in the front, master, one Jedi in the back, to be future known as the best guy in hand-to-hand combat, one of the best individual Jedi duelers in the history of modern, 1 through 9 timeline. He's fighting one in the front, one in the back, flipping dark side in this and dark side in that. And then you have him go out like he did, like a punk, like where he's like, oh, look, he's jumping over me. Wow. Oh, look, he's all the way. Do you think maybe I should turn my, because the guy I'm trying to kill is now, maybe I should turn on my, but no, it didn't cross his mind to turn on the sword. And it just, the way that he died was, you could have done so much better. You could have done.
I think the way they handled Dooku's death, right, from 2 to 3, is how they could have handled Qui-Gon's death, right? Where like they both battle, we dip out, and then like the beginning of 2, Qui-Gon exits, and maybe Maul exits too. But to do all of that at that moment and in that quickness, after obviously these two guys are at the best of their games, it just seemed like they mailed it in. And then to me, to be honest with you, it just never recovered after that. And I don't know how you feel about Christian Hayden, but him as Anakin, I wasn't really crazy about either.
I blame a lot of that. I feel like if you're making a movie, right, what you get as a product is what you want. And I can't look at actors and be like, you did a shitty job, because I really feel like if you're the director and you don't get the shot you want, we're gonna fucking do it again. And then we're gonna fucking do it again. And then we're gonna fucking do it again. Until I get exactly what I want. We can have 1,000 takes so much. So I really blame, and also the second film where I really think your hate for Christian Haydenson began to really brew. Well, that was the first time he ever appeared. But like the second movie was too around the love story between the two of them, which no nerd gives a shit about. I hate to tell you, but you put the love story in so your girlfriend won't cry when she comes to the movie.
Right. Agreed. Agreed.
Like, let's be honest.
That's actually Hollywood's problem, right? With how they introduce like romance now into guy films, because they want to be able to get the female audience. When you look back at Hope, Empire, and even Return of the Jedi, there was romanticism in it. Yes, it wasn't the same.
It was definitely a love story.
It was not like forced down your throat. It seemed like in 2, it was just forced.
Yeah, it was like, oh, we're gonna take these two off to this beautiful lush island, and the two of them are gonna fall in love, even though the chick was like 15 and he was like 6.
Right.
So how do you
yeah, that was actually a weird casting too, right? So let's think, let's give her lower just to pretend. Even if she's 12 and he's 6, what do you think Anakin's age was in 2?
Like 14 and she was 20. So I mean, that's not that bad.
That's still statutory rape in some states.
Really?
Woo, you walked out into that one. Yeah.
She just put on all that makeup and got her hair so she could distract you from the fact.
So you would have to probably walk her back to like, maybe she was like 10, 11, and then to 6, that would be 5-year difference. And if he was 14, maybe if he was, damn, that's hard to tell. No, it's hard to sell because she's over 18.
And also, nigga, you are a Jedi. What is with the one-itis? Like, why are you so focused on this one bitch?
Right.
Like, you're a Jedi. Do you realize the marketability that gets you?
Well, I also think that that's probably where I struggled with Hayden, because Hayden was supposed to be this guy, or not this guy. He's playing Anakin, who's kind of like not a disgruntled student, but like he's got teenage angst.
Yes, he does.
He's questioning Obi-Wan all the time, and I didn't buy it.
Yeah,
he didn't sell it to me.
Yeah, I now that you're saying that, and I look back, I agree.
He seemed annoying. I was like, I'm about to smack you right now because you got a Jedi Master trying to show you how we're gonna like keep the Empire at bay, and you're fucking around over here, bro. And it almost seemed weird because Anakin, the kid, was adorable. Like you fell in love with him. He was compassionate. He was loving. Like everything about him sold him. And then you bring in this guy, and you almost kind of like it's a head scratcher a little bit.
Like you really didn't like You're right. The young Anakin, you kind of grew an affection towards him.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
and like you said, the second, and you think about it, and it's like when I think about the second film, he did kind of seem like kind of spoiled and entitled.
And that would not be a characteristic of a kid that you took, because even look at the Jedi youngsters, they were always super respectful. So if they got him in there, that's almost like a terrible way to make the character develop.
And also the kid, like as a kid, he was super respectful and super like.
How did he change?
I want to show you how cool. Like, look at the robot I built.
Yes. Which is something that we talk about all the time too. The animation series, I think, did a better job of dialing in Anakin.
Yes.
Than they did in the actual film.
Yeah, because you're just, I really never really thought about this dynamic, but the angsted teenager could have been played much better. Like when I think about him burning and yelling, "I hate you," that wasn't how a motherfucker who hates you like yells, "Oh, I hate you." No, he doesn't. That shit comes from the soul, like if someone really like they like fucking growl that shit at you, like, "I fucking hate you." Like,
you know what I wish that they did, speaking about that, now that you bring that part up, which is kind of like not going into it is 3 episode, they should have recasted him again so that there would have been 3 different versions.
Okay, like this is adult Anakin.
Correct. Because they try to sell him as teen Anakin and adult Anakin. And I think that if they would have gotten adult Anakin as an actor, he probably would have been able to sell the anger. Because I didn't buy the anger in 3 either. I'm like, bro, no, I don't believe
it was
Obi-Wan, because we're going to talk about it a little bit too. Ewan McGregor did a phenomenal job, and his development is what I thought would have happened with Anakin, but obviously he was like a boy, because you get Ewan McGregor playing Obi-Wan as like the misguided young
That's
guy.
A great idea. The third Anakin, the third actor to play him as a man. I think that would have been a really nice twist.
Yeah, because now we would have had different acting styles in all 3 films, and your character development probably would have been stronger.
He's changed now. Like he's not a little kid peeling apples and shit. He's a killing machine now.
Yes. and also too the framework, right? Because they even when Vader came out, they had to slim down the suit, right? Like he didn't even fill into, like you say, the meat suit. So like Ewan McGregor, when he was casted, he was probably in a, like, let's say mid-20s, about to hit 30. And when the second film came out, he was in his 30s. And then when the third film came out, he was already probably mid-30s. So his character development seemed better in the sense of transitioning.
Also, like, I think what they should have played up a little bit more too was his confusion leading to his anger. Like he didn't seem confused enough, like, and they didn't give you the impression that this is a fucking 17-year-old kid and he's realizing like that the fucking pressure of the whole goddamn galaxy is on him and the fucking world is breaking up and he's on one side with his boys who are training him and they're not being fucking straight with him. Like you didn't get enough of that confusion to drive him to fucking anger. And they should have had someone in the Jedi Council find out that he was with that woman and just be like, "Are you fucking nuts? Like, you need to drop that fucking, like, they didn't.
It was weird because I think bringing in Sam Jackson is what they were trying to do. But Sam Jackson was nailing it on such a cool level of being like the cooler Jedi that they never really had that warrant there, right? And then Obi-Wan plays his pops, so there was no real like you know how shucks, what is the Road Squadron? I was gonna say DAC, but that's not it. But they didn't even get a chance to really do that. But like, there was no real chemistry of anybody within his realm to make you kind of buy or believe what he was selling you as a character.
Just they could have done a much better job fostering his confusion, his anger, and also when he felt like his trust was broken. Like, they should have broke it way before because you don't go, there's no way if Obi-Wan is your fucking homie and you were Jedi, there's no way you go and fucking murder somebody if you still trust people on that side. Like, your trust had to be crushed with the guy that touched, like, come on, dude, there's no way you're tighter with someone other than fucking Obi-Wan. Like, that's your fucking homie. And you mean to tell me now even my boy is evil? No, that can't be right. You know, like.
Yeah, like, he flipped a switch.
I said that to the Emperor.
Right,
you know,
yeah.
That can't be right. No fucking way. You're mine now, bitch. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's no confusion. There was no back and forth.
You know what's something that I've always been worried about with these films, and they did it already 8 times out of 9 times. So the original 3, 1, if I'm not mistaken, was directed by George Lucas.
Okay.
2 was 6 was directed by George Lucas. 7 was directed by somebody else. 8 was directed by somebody else. Am I have that order right? No. It's sorry. 4 was Lucas. 5 was somebody else.
Say them by the titles instead.
Okay.
It's New Hope.
New Hope was Lucas. Empire Strike Back was another director.
Okay.
Return of the Jedi was another director.
Okay.
What is the first one?
Phantom Menace.
Phantom Menace was directed by someone else.
Okay.
What's
Attack of the Clones?
Attack of the Clones was directed by someone else, and so was what?
Revenge of the Sith.
Was direct. So that is kind of weird to try to create a consistency.
Yeah.
And then they did the same thing. They did the same thing with 7 and 8. It was directed by one guy, and then 8 was directed by another guy. So J.J. Abrams had his hand on the steering wheel on 7, which it worked out kind of good. Then they gave the keys to somebody else, and I think they fucked that up. And then they bought J.J. Abrams again to do 9.
Well, the second film is always the hardest one to get right if you're writing a trilogy.
Right, because it's going to bridge both 1 and 2.
And that's why Empire was so good.
And it was weird because they picked a guy who had never done any kind of sci-fi movie before. He was doing like foreign films and shit like that. So, good on Lucas to have the foresight to at least administrate somebody that he felt that it might have been able to just tackle the position. Because that's weird, right? Like, it's almost like if you're an action guy, like an action director, you get like bang, 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 like cutscene, versus doing sci-fi, which is very long.
Do what you do well.
A lot of
sci-fi is all political.
No, but I'm talking about shooting. Just the lens of it. Yeah. Just the lens of how it gets done. Right? Because there's a lot of different things that happen. Like when they're fighting, in TIE fighters and in X-Wings, it's like bang, 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 like scene after scene after scene after scene. And then when they're building up momentum and romance and emotion, it's like long, we're panning, people are walking it, more like a Stanley Kubrick kind of style, which is more like I let the actors walk into the scene versus me finding them in a camera scene.
Okay, I never thought about that.
Right, there's your boy be studying hard on the front. I will be directing a fucking featured film very soon, and maybe I'll become the director of photography on yours before I shoot my own. But a lot of these different ways of letting films organically develop, right? And so I don't even know if Lucas did the first second trilogy.
I'd like to compare those.
Yeah,
I'd like to actually go back and I mean, I have them all in my fucking head, but
right. But as you look at them, because some of them, like even like when you go to New Hope, it's a very interesting direction because you got bang 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 bang, and then Tatooine, like that long clip, boom, and then it stops, and then they walk in, right? Like even at the bar, right? It's like shot of the bar, right? The music is going, right, and it's slower cuts. It's a lot slower cuts. It's like he bumps into the guy, camera switches slow, you know, but as it developed, like to me, some of the best editing, that's why it's such a great film, was Return of the Jedi, because you got Solo on Endor, cutscene, and then they go back to the Death Star, cutscene, back and forth. So they're really building action where you're like, fuck, oh my shit, Han is fucked up, oh shit, Luke is fucking up, like
everything's fucked up,
right?
Yeah.
Right.
They do a really good job of that, of shifting the drama between the scenes,
right?
So like, and then you know the big break is when you see Han Solo running away,
right,
from the thing, and it's about to explode. That's when like that's when that tension they've been building finally starts to break.
Right.
Woo, I'm getting fucking chills.
I know. And so like that's what I said, as a film student, which I like to declare myself as, it's very interesting on how each film has its own style. You can actually see the styles go through when you watch it.
Jedi is my favorite film.
It is mine too. The only reason why I think I really enjoy Empire is because there's a lot of moving parts. And someone explained it to me like Guardians of the Galaxy, right? Because with The New Hope, it was a collective, right? In the sense of everybody's journey ascending at the same time, right? In Empire Strikes Back, there's two different stories: Luke's journey and Han and the crew's journey.
Yep.
And how they intersect at the end, right? So that was similar to the way, man, I can't believe I'm drawing a blank on the director, James Gunn did it with Guardians of the Galaxy. He separated the cast. So it was like characters doing one thing, then characters doing another thing, and then segueing it back into them all meeting up again, and then teammating to fucking like do the finishing sequence.
You're gonna make me cry on this shit, dude, because like I was thinking about that, and I was like, what brings Luke back is because he realizes if I don't go to save them, they're gonna die.
Right.
And all this training and all that shit, it doesn't even fucking matter, dude. Like if my homie and my fucking, who's actually my sister, if they die, what does it even fucking matter?
Well, I think like after the like cliffhanger part of him finding out that he's Yoda, everything after Yoda pulling out the X-wing to the part where he says there's another is probably the gist of the whole movie. That's extremely strong, because he tells him the reason why you failed is because you didn't believe. We just talked the other day about belief. About belief, right?
That was so because Luke came over and it was so like real. It was like, dude, like, holy shit, I don't fucking believe it. And he was like, yeah, I know. And that's why I couldn't pull it out.
That's why you failed. That was a great line. And that's why you failed. Then go to the second part of that, right? Where he says, what's going to happen to them is inevitable. There is nothing you can do to save them, right? And arguing that somebody's going to die. I see it. My premonition sees death in that whole scene.
And he was wrong.
Right. But he almost died. He got lucky, because if there wasn't the connection with the twins.
What did he say back to him when he said, that's why I have to go?
Right. then the cliffhanger of there is another. Like those three things are like, holy fuck, what just happened?
Yeah.
Right. And to preference why I wasn't crazy about 7, 8, and 9 was because as a youngster, I read a lot of the novels, right? And what the novel guys, the novelists took into that next series, right?
Grand Admiral Thrawn.
All that shit, which was the fact that Princess Leia had twins.
Right.
And they skipped that. And I think that would have been a more saving grace. So basically, Ben Kenobi and Rey should have been twins. separated at birth.
That would have, yeah, because
What the fuck are you doing, bro? You're fucking up the tapestry.
come
And
on,
that's
you had a layup and you bricked it.
right.
You know, we could rewrite those movies so much better.
Bro, if you read the novels are fantastic. Like Dark Horse, as a comic company,
Right.
they made comics and they made books, and the books like close so many gaps. They even, which I enjoyed for like a nanosecond that they did in
Right.
8, was that where was Leia as a Jedi? How did you fucking miss that layup too? Right? Like you could have went back and spent more time on that and developed that story about Luke teaching her.
With her willpower, she could have been one of the strongest Jedi ever.
Yeah, right.
With her authority and command, like,
right.
You know, what the hell was I going to say about that?
Whether she was a badass motherfucker. No, it's okay. I'll go back. Okay.
You saw the 3 I read. I read 3 novels after high school, which all had to do with Grand Admiral Thrawn and Luke ending up fighting a clone of himself that they made from the hand that he got cut off when he was fighting Vader. And then I never read any novels after that, but I really liked Grand Admiral Thrawn's character, and I really liked that they brought him in to Rebels, because the way that he would study the enemy and appreciate their art and all of those things is the way that a true general, you know, would find out how to destroy somebody. Like, their art means so much. It's so much of the expression and the time, and like, and just the character that they made of him, and the way that they made the comparison between the way Vader ran shit and the way he ran shit was very different. You know, Vader, if you fuck shit up, he just killed you. You know, it's like, hey, you got a call from Vader.
Better not answer that shit.
Accept or not, because you could be about this far away from getting choked out over the decline.
I was gonna say, send that fucker to voicemail.
and when you answer the voicemail, you're like, hello.
Right, exactly. You know what was another thing when you bring that up to tie this into like some crazy shit?
Okay.
Using some of the pioneer tactics that guys like George Washington used and Napoleon, right? Okay. I was surprised that they didn't work more on the Empire side with shit like that. Like developing the characters as battle warriors. Like they had an opportunity to not maybe introduce Thrawn, but introduce guys of that capacity.
I understand what you're saying. You know, that's one thing that Japanese anime does very, very well, is the enemy, the bad guys, you see them with their underlings. Like you find yourself respecting them for their honor, you know, and their conviction and their, you know, and a lot of them, and it's like, they're just here for soldiers, you know, and killing a civilian is not what, like, so I really feel like that's something that anime does really, really well, is it explores the background and the motivations of the bad guys, you know, so you find yourself thinking that, you know, maybe this guy isn't quite as terrible as I thought he was, you know, like he's actually a reasonable guy. He's just on the other side, so he has to die, frankly.
Yeah, and I even think with the Anakin shit, and that's why I'll introduce this too as we go in, because I think that they did try to do that a little bit with Rogue One. We started to see a admiral, a commander, some kind of war strategist.
Yep.
But we never really got to see it, just in the examples that you brought up. We never really got to see Vader's tactical war side, because he was also a huge component of why the Empire took over. And we never got to see that development. Like, you took me through all of Anakin's life, and you took me through all of Darth Vader's end, but I feel like there's so much room for them to go back to the well. Yes, I've never seen Vader.
What a great strategist he was.
Yes, as a warrior, I've never seen him in the field getting busy. He's always on the sideline calling plays, but never really, like, they treated him like Belichick, but he was more like Tom Brady in his earlier times, right? Like, he was in the field. He was getting shit done. And then they spent all this shitty time with fucking Count Dooku and that machine guy, the arm dude. And I was like, these were two wastes of characters.
Right. You're spending time with new characters like Dooku and Grievous doing their part in the galaxy when I mean, that was a different time in the movie, but then you never fostered that same sort of thing with Vader, who is a much, much better character.
And that's why I hated Rogue One. If you're going to give this guy
Did you just say what?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I know. I said it.
Rogue One is my favorite.
I know. Listen, I got you. I understand all that.
It's like one AA.
I get it. But how do you have the greatest character of all time and you give him 10 minutes of screen time?
Well, the movie wasn't about him, dude. That was
But it really was, though.
The movie was about
I get it.
Sacrifice that these regular motherfuckers made.
I understand, but
none of them have the comfort of going into battle knowing if a nigga shoots at me, I could just shoo.
But I get.
If I go out, I'm gonna fucking die, and they all did, and that's why it's the shit.
No, I get it. I understand that, right? Because in the beginning of New Hope, the lady says a lot of people died to get us this information.
That's actually, we're wrong about that. That's a quote from Return of the Jedi.
You might be right.
I made that same mistake. I thought
you're right. Because they got new plans for the new Death Star. Yes,
right.
You're 100% right. But either way, No, I'm saying either way, we never really even got to see Vader in his greatness. Like, I forget what cartoon series they did, but they showed a little bit of like young Vader, and he was such a badass. And I'm like, guys, please.
Wouldn't I love to see a bunch of that?
Right. Bro, that would sell the fuck out. Yeah, that would sell out.
Like, you should make a movie
just about him.
Titled Vader.
That's it.
Dude, like, fuck all these other characters.
You would
show me Vader from like 8 months after becoming Vader.
Right. And when he's pissed off about losing his wife, he thinks he killed his kids.
Right.
He's white hot.
And have him do some crazy shit like pull down a fucking Star Destroyer with the Force because he's so angry.
Yes.
Punch it.
Right.
Like, show me some Vader shit. Like, what?
Right. Like, I wanted to see the Force at its ultimate capability.
Yes. Like, show him just crushing one of the fucking.
And now, you know what's another funny thing? Because we were just talking about like the spoiled brat syndrome that Christian Hated brought to the game.
Right.
I did not like Mark Hamill's interpretation of Luke in the last trilogy.
I agree.
I feel like playing him as like a tired, old, grumpy old man was weak.
Right. Yeah. But that's not his choice.
No. He's actually came out and said he didn't like the movies.
Yeah. That was, again, that's on the director.
Yeah. Agreed. That was
like, I didn't care much. And I don't want to sound like a snob, because honestly, and I understand this as a grown-ass man, Star Wars isn't for me anymore.
Right.
Star Wars is for kids, okay? Let's be honest. Sci-fi in general, most of it is for kids.
That's insane for you to say that. Most sci-fi is like fucking, especially from the 80s, is like R-rated.
I know, it's good shit.
Aliens, Terminator, right?
So Aliens, Terminator, there's a lot of really good stuff.
Predator, you could consider a fucking sci-fi flick.
When I think of all those things, they all make a really, really profound political statement. And Star Wars doesn't do that. And that's why Star Wars is for kids.
At least the first three, I would say, would be for kids.
I just feel like they're all for kids.
Really?
Especially the first three.
Right,
The
especially the first three.
like the New Hope and whatever, and Star Wars and Vader and Empire and Jedi aren't, is because you were a kid when they were made.
Right. I get all of that.
Yeah.
That. Yeah, for
So
sure.
I mean, so all of the movies, like, but they're, and he said it himself, they're targeted for children to sell toys.
Right. That was actually one of the greatest things that guy ever did.
Other
Was the toy
sci-fi
deal.
isn't, you know. Terminator, which I saw recently, so fucking good.
Oh my God.
Was not to sell toys. It was to horrify you.
That's true. That's true. Right. Yeah. You know what's funny as you bring that up? There's like this whole entire documentary that talks about how Kenner literally revolutionized the toy industry using Star Wars, and how George Lucas basically became a billionaire by leveraging the toy deal.
Dude, the toys were great.
They were
so good.
They were great.
I would have fucking cut my own dick off and my dad's dick off.
Bro, you want to hear a crazy story?
To get the fucking AT-AT, dude. We would have been two dickless niggas. The Rose family would have ended because I would have cut off all the dicks to get that.
Bro, you want to hear a crazy story?
You did cut off 3 guys' dicks.
No. A crazy Star Wars story. One time, and I'm in the hood. We were doing okay, but we weren't rich, but we weren't poor. I literally found an Ewok treehouse playset in the garbage that I cleaned up and was geeked to have.
In the trash, dude.
In the trash.
I'd have gone into the toilet for that thing.
Bro, it was so sick. It was like somebody like played somebody or they got kicked out of somewhere, because it was like pretty much brand new. And there was like instruction manuals that were next to it and everything. I was like, I snatched up all that shit and I was so geeked. So geeked.
If you still have that, we should play with that.
No, I don't know what the heck happened to that piece, because I tell you, so Kenner made the first wave of toys, and they went to the bank with that. Right. But then there was another line of toys. I forgot who endorsed it.
Right.
And I got all of those. I pretty much picked up as many as I could. It could be still Kenner.
But the toys themselves were good.
Yeah.
I remember having the speeder from Empire.
Yeah.
The X-Wing was awesome. Like the TIE
the vehicles were really well done. The vehicles were very well done. Even the Millennium Falcon was well built. The X-Wing was well built.
It was all exactly the same.
Yeah, they did a really good job, especially when you look at paying attention to the details. Now, I'm super crazy about the new version. I don't know if you've seen any of the new lines. No. It's called the Black Series. Oh my God. This is probably the best toy Star Wars line ever.
I was gonna say they could probably remake that shit.
They've already been
lights now. That's beast,
bro. These toys literally go for like $40 a piece, and the resale value is crazy on them.
Well, good, because now I'm the age where everyone will think I'm buying it for my son.
Bro, you won't even be able to buy it for your son. Like if you go to Target, all of that shit's sold out all the time, because people are just. You literally, to get like 5 or 6, it would cost you like $150 to get it from like a toy provider, as if you were getting it wholesale.
Right.
Because you won't find them on the shelves. And right now, just so you know, check this out, right? Talking about another funny Star Wars story.
Okay.
So this same company, they call it Black Series, right? They released helmets, right? They released a Kylo Ren helmet that I have been fucking drooling over for a hot minute, right? And I waited to get it. It was a $200 helmet. You know how much I'm going to buy it for? Because I'm going to buy it. And I'm thinking about buying 2. I just got to figure out how to sell it to Tabby. It depends. If it's
hers.
No, I want one to wear, because I've always wanted to dress up as a Star Wars character once in my life at a costume party, and one to keep because of the value of it.
Right. Yeah, it's an investment. There you go. That's how you sell it.
Listen to this. A used one, right? I told you, brand new, $200.
Right.
A used one goes for $400 on eBay.
Wow.
A brand new one goes anywhere from $600 to $700 and $800.
Wow.
Yes. And the reason why it's so awesome is that it's a two-piecer and it literally does the voice of Kylo Ren. Bro, I want it.
If I were to get a helmet like that, I might be trapped in my room with just that helmet for a long time.
And like if you go to like cosplay, you could probably get the robe attire for like under $100. So basically the whole gusto of the outfit is an $800 helmet. Plus, I've always wanted to buy a stormtrooper outfit, and those stormtrooper outfits, they go for like about $1,000.
If I were to sign up and do a costume, everyone's like Lando Calrissian, and I'm like,
right. I'm surprised they didn't fucking hit you with Mace Windu.
No, dude, Mace Windu. First of all, should have been cast as Larry Fishburne because he would have done a way better job. And number two, the only angry Jedi ever was a black guy.
Right, go figure.
And then I would much rather be the actual angry black guy, Saw Gerrera, the first dude who was like, you know what? Fuck this shit. Talking's over. Get your gats. Like, that's my guy. So if I ever dress up, I'm gonna be Saw Gerrera. Lies.
Yeah,
deceptions.
It's crazy, bro. Like the cosplay community on all that shit, bro. Like now that Comic-Con, I don't know if you're aware of this, but Comic-Con has signed a deal to be here in San Diego for the Thanksgiving weekend. And when Comic-Con was in town, bro, you got to see some of these fools in these fucking costumes, bro. Like I've even looked at Boba Fett's outfit. That's like a $2,000 investment. And this same company that I'm talking about, because I like watching trends. They released the Dark Vader that I'm sure is going for fucking bananas on the net, and they just released the Mandalorian. But when these things come out, you can get them. It's just if you don't get them, the secondary market, thank you capitalism, wink wink, just fucks you up the booty hole and just rapes you, because there's no fucking way a helmet should cost $800.
The secondary market doesn't have regulation.
Right. No, of course. And listen, I don't get mad in the sense I just want a $200 helmet. Right. I get that, there's supply and then there's demand, or this way, supply and then demand.
Let me explain supply and demand. Okay?
Right. Look, we're gonna switch it.
No, because this is real shit. Okay, because fuck you. This is the truth about supply and demand. I have the supply, so I'm fitting to demand as much as I possibly can. That's supply and demand.
I get that. I fuck with that.
That's what it really means.
You know what I don't fuck with it? When the Joes run the play and then they go, you know what, you're going to jail.
You can't play anymore.
Fuck you.
Oh, you won? You won a game? Nah, you can't play no more.
Which is very funny because I think, if I'm not mistaken, Lucas wrote a lot of that political satire to reflect our government.
Yeah, and the English are the bad guys. I mean, you get it. They're all the bad guys have an English accent. The one thing I really loved about Rogue One was it showed what actual tyranny was. It showed how fucking evil the goddamn Empire was. Just how fucking sinister those guys really were. Where it was like, oh, they're attacking the base. Okay, pull the Death Star around and shoot at the base. Huh? Yeah, the base. Like, just shoot at it. With the Death Star. Like, just kill everybody. Fuck it. Like, that was even better than after Vader was like, yeah, smoke Alderaan. It showed you that it wasn't just Vader being evil, that like this organization is
doesn't give a fuck.
Evil. Like, they do not give a fuck about, like, we got soldiers there. Well, they're dead. And I don't care that they're dead. I don't care that their families are going to be fucked up. Like, just kill it. Just like, and that's one thing. And also it showed that the rebels aren't all good guys. and it also gave you some shit like as a soldier, like it didn't glorify war. And I really like that about films when they are like, yeah, you can go to war, but you're going to watch your friend's head get blown into pieces.
Well, that's
swallow a piece of his brain by accident.
that was one thing that I thought for like the hot second that I really enjoyed Abrams' retake on the film. And I'm gonna probably say his name wrong, so please correct me. John Boyama, John Boya. I think it's.
I know what you're talking about. The Englishman.
Yeah, that plays the stormtrooper,
right?
Having that confliction because they're not clones now.
Nope.
They're basically like what they do in Africa. We steal a bunch of kids and then we make soldiers out of them. And then the conflict of that in his mind, like, I don't want to kill on behalf of you guys. I thought that was really great. And him understanding the fear of what you were just saying. Like, these people will kill you. You need to run. There's no reason to fight. Like, they're going to fuck you up. Like, we need to get the fuck out of here. Like, when he's telling Ren at the table in that bar, he's like, listen, we need to get the fuck out of Dodge.
Niggas do not play. They will kill everybody. We need to leave. Yes.
Now. There's no reason to stand your ground.
Yeah,
we're losing.
Yeah, because like they need. Let's go right now. Yeah, he really did kind of.
He did a great job. I thought he fucking
that energy. Like, dude, this is not the game. Not a game.
He's a phenomenal actor. I thought that was a brilliant casting on their behalf for him. I think that it was great. Like, I know they went back to the well and pretty much made The New Hope over again, but I just thought that first film was entertaining beyond all things and super nostalgic. Like, I was like,
when I was watching that first film, and very quickly, I, like you, appreciate good theater, and I appreciate, playing to the old films and throwing little bones, like, and I got all that shit, but like about halfway through the movie, I was like, you motherfucker, like, you just rewrote A New Hope.
That's all you did. You stole it.
Like nigga, like, you just, and then when they got into the trench, then I was just angry. I was like, we're in a trench in an X-Wing. You got to be fucking kidding me. To blow up a nigga, I was fucking.
But you know what? To be honest with you, to like taper some of your anger, temper. Thank you. To temper some of your anger, I looking at it, if I was Abrams, it would have been hard for me not to do that because I don't want to fuck it up. Yeah. And, all the layups that we talked about them missing, he was the actual guy that was like, whip, got him. Got him. He went right, then back left, then back right, and was like, I got it. I slam dunked that shit because
we're over here. Yep, we're over here yelling about layups, and this nigga's like,
boom.
Couple billion.
Now, fucking 8 and 9, garbage. But at least he was able to restore and make it fun and enjoyable. Because I could watch that movie a bunch of times.
9 was especially basura.
What did you specifically hate about 9 the most?
One, that they brought back the most evil being in the galaxy. Even though I like have a deep affinity for Palpatine, to have fucking a little Jedi kill him, one Jedi kill him, one, like you defiled his legacy as a guy that can shoot, and you just defiled his.
What do you think about them fucking just taking a nosedive and making Rey a relative of his?
Also, like, you missed it. It should have been that she's the child of separated at birth.
Yes, that was a layup that you missed.
Floats through
space, literally fucking space, where there is no oxygen, where things freeze and crumble.
No, see, you're missing the biggest point. It's not the oxygen, it's not the temperature, it's the fucking pressure.
Oh, there you go. That's another one I missed.
There's no air pressure. So literally, after like 1 minute, you would go.
Really? That's what would happen to the human body? It would explode?
Well, you'd freeze to death too.
Right. No, I get that too. But would it break apart before it froze to death, you think?
Well, right now, there's pressure pushing in on you from the air.
Yes, I know that.
And it's squeezing your body.
Yeah.
So take away all the squeezing energy, and what happens?
Yeah, shit. That makes sense.
Right? It's squeezing you now. Just stop that. What happens?
Yeah.
You're fucking done, dude. Like that, and it's like, and she didn't even have like legit a month with Yoda to talk about shit. She's just like.
That was another thing that I thought was weird too, right? So you don't fucking show me anything that Luke shared with her.
Yep.
Luke didn't even spend that much time with Yoda.
Nope.
Luke becomes this super fucking badass, right? And then he becomes a fucking jerk at the end.
Yep.
And then
a recluse.
And then she becomes like the all-knowing powerful. I was like, what in the fuck is happening here?
You knew she had Jedi power.
Yes, we knew.
Luke was hanging from the joint.
Right. Yeah. When he was in the Cloud City and he calls for her, you know that she was tapped in somehow.
That was the shit, actually.
Right. Yeah.
That was like,
she's
like, dude, we got to go back. And they're like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I think he did a really great job of foreshadowing that twice. Once with Yoda saying that there's another.
Right.
And two, with Leia feeling Luke. Because at that point, she made out with him. The only thing that you could have thought of is that they had a good chemistry and he's using the Force to call her. It wasn't that. It's that she had the Force herself.
She had the ability to communicate.
If he would have called for Han, he'd have been fucked.
Right, yeah, because Han was in case.
Han was also, right, that too. But if he called Chewie.
I don't think Force messages get through carbonite.
You're right. You know what's another thing too, as we come to the end of this stuff, you know what I wanted to share with you, and I don't know if you know this. So I was telling you this before because I told you I'm a super junkie. So Wookiee, right, is a species. Their island or their planet is Kashyyyk, right?
Okay.
I might be saying that wrong.
Kashyyyk, whatever.
It's Kashyyyk.
You could spell it, I'm sure. It's what,
K-A-S-H, I think Y-Y-H.
Okay, Kashyyyk. Okay.
Yeah. And it's funny because first of all, New Hope breaks the bank financially in the sense of motion picture, gross, right?
Right.
You back that up with the second one, which probably breaks the bank again.
Yes,
right?
Of course.
And in the third one, they had to save money because the Ewoks were supposed to be Wookiees.
Right.
Because it cost too much money, they invented...
To make the Wookiee homeworld,
Yeah, they invented Ewoks instead.
Yeah.
Which is funny. Because I wonder what that would have been like if it was a planet of Wookiees.
A Wookiee homeworld, right? It would have been way cooler because
way fucking cooler. Way cooler.
Met Chewie's family.
Not only that, you would have seen animals fighting the Empire because you had these cute little Teletubby kind of things, fucking doing weird shit with sticks and rocks.
When Chewbacca
unbelievable.
Your fucking arms off your body, literally.
Correct. That's the only thing I loved about Solo. That for like 1 second, you seen how barbaric.
Oh, what Chewie was?
It was really in captivity.
Yeah, because the only reason Han survived is because he could fucking talk to him.
Right. That's it. Right. Exactly. Agreed.
And and they should have made a scene where Han was able to speak to like several different species because he was a smuggler.
It's like us.
That's the only thing that saved his ass.
Yeah, it's like us in a large way, right? We can speak a couple of different languages, even if it's just phrases, because we were in an industry where we're meeting multicultural people and multicultural backgrounds. If this fool is running the galaxy, there's no way he doesn't know like their version of Spanish, their version of Dutch, their version of German.
And he's selling on the black market. Like he would be able, and if they had done that, it would have been even better when he runs into that Wookiee and he can actually speak to it.
Right.
Because, everyone...
I was pissed. Two things with Solo. One, they didn't introduce the Hutt. I don't know why they're delaying this Hutt thing, right? Because the Hutt is actually a huge tapestry, especially in the novels.
Yeah.
right? And you gave me 30 seconds of Darth Maul. You guys are so stupid. What is happening here? Why are we losing sight of like just layups? Fucking layups, bro. Right? Like, what in the flying fuck? Now, before we go out, Mandalorian, we talked about a little bit too. I think our original impressions of it was better than good. It was somewhere between good and great.
Tano will beat your fucking ass.
Yeah, she's a G.
I just wanted to say that. And she's like 16, and she'll beat the shit out of you.
I wonder,
And your friend.
we were talking about it, how I've been like combing the news feeds of the geek world and haven't heard anything about her having a series. I wonder with them releasing the Obi-Wan, if she will be included in that. Because now with Obi, they're going to obviously do more Jedi stuff.
Right.
You know?
I look forward to anything they make, even though it's
right.
progressively shittier and shittier. I'm a crack addict, and if you give me good crack or bad crack, I'm gonna fucking smoke it, and I'm probably gonna like it.
It's a better analogy. It's like pizza. Even if it's bad, it's still pretty good, right?
Spoken by a true New Yorker.
Facts. So brother, thank you so much for coming on. I'm so excited, right? Wasn't this dope? Fucking like just geeking out about the stuff. I mean, I'm excited, bro. I think that I was telling T that the internet is gonna break on May 4th, and it's gonna be largely due to the fact of there's gonna be so many memes and Jedi references and Star Wars puns that it's just gonna go crazy. And I think that I'm going to start now. I'll probably be watching either A New Hope or the first episode.
Phantom Menace.
Yes. To go with it and start getting it all built up. But as soon as fucking Anakin gets in there, I just finished watching 7. It's so funny, bro. My drive, my brain drive is just like at capacity. So I don't certain things I just don't save space for. And it's just here.
One last thing.
Go ahead, please. Yeah, we got time
to wrap up.
Yeah. Tell me.
Star Wars podcast. I got a very important question for you.
Tell me. I can't wait to hear this.
Is your favorite Star Wars moment total? And you can even give me a 1 and a 1A, because I know that's a big question.
Wow. That's it's
a big one.
So I'm gonna narrow it down because it's none of the fucking after ones. So it's definitely New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and The Jedi Returns.
Okay.
Let me see. I don't really think it's anything in The New Hope, because as much as I like that movie, it's not my favorite.
And doesn't have a lot of epic moments.
Right. So it definitely comes down to Empire and Return.
Right.
Fuck, man, that's so fucking hard.
It's a good question, right?
Actually, I think that my favorite scene, I got it. My favorite scene, and it's not even 1 or 1A, it's just a collection. The moment that Luke shows up to Jabba's place, because we had been waiting for him to be like this badass motherfucker, and as soon as he comes in the building, he's killing Rancors, he's jumping off of a fucking ships, stabbing motherfuckers, he's killing Boba Fett like nobody's business, he gets shot in his hand, he just fucking fools up. That's probably my favorite out of all of it.
He was all mouth there. I never thought a Jedi talked so much shit. Free us or die.
Right.
I thought you were okay, and they chose not to free him.
Yeah. And then I think the greatest line is when Jabba speaks in Jabba and says, "Your Jedi mind tricks will not work on me." Right? Okay, what's yours?
I told you not to let him in, you fucking asshole.
Right. He told him. He said, "Let me know when he's coming, you fucking dick."
My moment is right after "What have I done?" when fucking Palpatine gets a big boner and he looks at Homeboy and he was like, "There'll be civil war without end." And then he turns to Homeboy and he's like, "Every single Jedi including your friend, is now an enemy of the Republic.
Oh, that's right. The Republic. That was so.
And I want you to go to the Jedi Temple
and start murdering fools.
They will catch him off guard. Do what must be done. Don't hesitate. Don't have any mercy. And then, like, that's the moment. It's like, you're my bitch now, so go kill all your friends right now. And he does.
He really does.
And it's like,
do you know if I don't know if you know, is he the same actor from the first three?
Yes, same guy.
He did a great job as Palpatine.
Like, that was my shit. I was like,
great job.
I was like, nigga, you lost your fucking mind. Like, listen to what he's saying. It doesn't make sense. Like, the bitch can have a cesarean section.
Crazy, bro. This was freaking amazing. Amazing that we were able to geek out on this shit. It's been a minute. I know we talk a lot on the phone, but I'm glad that we were able to get some of this on the wax.
I could go for 2 more hours on
bro,
stuff.
Me too. I almost feel like we got to do a follow-up to this shit.
Seriously.
Yeah, because we just came on the crust. And I wanted to come from a different angle than most people come at it with.
Well, yeah, not a lot of people talk about the swag.
Yeah, of my guy.
Solo comes to the table with.
That's amazing.
He's the fucking bad boy that all you little fucking princesses prayed that you had.
And the crazy part is, I'm going to say this and go out on a crazy limb. He is one of the great American actors that no one really talks about, that no one really puts him in that category.
Definitely.
You know?
Yeah. And it's been, and his career is so long. Like, and there was even, what was the one where The Fugitive was huge?
That was great. Come on. That was great. Great.
And then he was the guy from all the Clancy novels.
Yes.
And he sold it. And then he was the president. Like, Harrison's the man, dude.
Fuck, he's such a G. I forgot. That's a great way of stringing that along, right? Holy fucking smoke. He's Jack Ryan. He's fucking the president of the United States. He's Indiana Jones. He's Harrison Ford. He's what was his? I know his last name was Gimbal, but I can't remember his first name. It was the one-armed man.
I mean, come on, dude. He's Han Solo. Like, he's
fuck. Yeah, for sure. Man, we could probably do
nerds. May the fourth be with you.
Yes. And I'm going to say thank you for listening. I hope you enjoy the show. Stay safe, stay healthy.
Like and subscribe, motherfucker.
Word up. I love that shit. And I'll say it even better. May the force be with you. Take it easy, guys.